One of the things that we've been doing is putting up inductive Hebrew grammars, what I call inductive Christological Hebrew grammars around Jesus Christ seen through New Testament lenses. We have done the first day of creation and the second day. Now we come to part 3, which is the third day of creation. And I'll read the Hebrew. I would encourage you to have your Hebrew Bible open and follow me along. If you would like to follow the PDF grammar, it can be found on Google Books under my name, Dr. Gary Stats. So I'm going to begin in verse 9. Vayomer Elohim, and I'll pronounce it slowly so you could pronounce it with me. Vayomer Elohim, Yikavu Hamayim, Mitachat Hashemayim, El Makom Achad, V'tera'eh Hayabasha, Vayehi Chen. So reading it at a normal speed, Vayomer Elohim, Yikavu Hamayim Mitachat Hashemayim, El Makom Achad, V'tera'eh Hayabasha, Vayehi Chen. Notice it begins, and we're looking at each word grammatically. And God said, notice Vayomer is from the root amar. It is a cow imperfect, third masculine singular with the yod prefix showing third person. It has a vav with a pathot, so we have a vav consecutive or a vav conversive. So we translate it, the imperfect is put into the past with this vav conversive or vav hafak, vav consecutive, and God said. Notice amar is a pei aleph verb, and we have an o vowel, a cholim. As we've said before, all the way through here, your pei aleph verbs go to that cholim from what had historically probably been what we call dissimilation. So yemer probably became yomer with the quiescent or silent aleph. And so this occurs in all of these pei aleph verbs. So, and God said, Yikavu Hamayim. Notice Yikavu is from the root kava. It is a lamed hey root. And if you'll notice the form here, it has a dogish forte in the kof. And so what you have here is yin kavu, becoming yikavu. It's a nifal, imperfect, third masculine plural, and the noon has assimilated into the kof by what we call progressive assimilation. And that's why we have the dogish there. What gives it away as the nifal would be the I-class vowel under the yod, followed by the comets, the A-class vowel, and the doubling of the kof. So yen kavu became yikavu, and the root is kava. It is a lamed hey root, a final hey, where the hey has elided or dropped out. So God said, let the waters, notice, be gathered together. It's passive, being nifal. By the way, hamayim is your definite article in the hey with the pathak underneath. And then we have mayim, which means waters. So let the waters, and notice mayim is a dual form in the ayim ending. And we've already commented about the article originally was hal with a lamed, and the lamed by progressive assimilation has gone into the mem, causing the dogish forte. So hamayim, let the waters be gathered together, mitachat ha-shemayim, from under the heaven. Under the heaven. Notice min is the preposition from. The noon of min has assimilated into the tav by progressive assimilation. And tachat means under. So let the waters be gathered together from under the preposition, the heavens. Ha-shamayim then is the noun shamayim, plural, dual here, but plural in meaning. And ha, again, is your definite article. So from under the heavens, el makom achad. Notice el is the preposition unto. Makom means place, a noun, and achad is the adjective meaning one. So let the waters be gathered together from under the heaven unto one place. The tera'eh hayabashah, and let the dry land be seen. Notice the tera'eh is from the root ra'ah, so it's a lamed hey form. And notice the tav here shows that it is a third feminine, a singular suffix, and you have a tsere comets vowel pattern, or an a vowel pattern. This is indicative of the nifal stem. Notice the nifal would have been tin ra'eh, but the noon could not assimilate into the resh being guttural in the way it functions here. So what you have is the elision, or the dropping out of the noon, and you have compensatory lengthening historically then from a hirig to a tserik. And so it's a nifal imperfect, a third feminine singular from ra'ah. So with the conjunction vet. So let the waters, and it's a jussive, it's a command. The Lord is a king, shouting out command. So let the dry land, let the waters be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land be seen. Notice hayabashah means dry land. And ha again is your definite article, and yabashah means dry land, a noun. It is interesting as we think about the Exodus. The yabashah is what the Israelites went over in Exodus chapter 14. They went over on dry land. So again, the God of creation here is the God of redemption. And so let the dry land be seen, vayehi chen, and it was so. Notice again, vayehi is from the root haya. It's a cow imperfect, third masculine singular, that yod prefix giving that away. From that lamed hey root, haya, as we said, the hey elides or drops out. So cow imperfect, third masculine singular, with the vav hafik, the vav that turns it over, the vav conversive. So, and it was so. Chen is just your adverb, meaning so. So here we see the great word of the Lord as the king who is having all the waters go to one place. Again, he has control of the waters. Unlike what we have, for example, in, say, the Ugaritic text, where the waters, the river, the Nahar is always in conflict with Baal and so forth. Or even, let's say, the Akkadian Enuma Elish, where Marduk has to struggle with the waters. God just tells it where to go. So we're seeing the king on the throne giving commands here. And what a beautiful statement. I think about Jesus again, who tells the waters to be quiet. And he walks on the waters. So he has control of the waters. Jesus is fully God, I believe, as a Christian minister reading the New Testament, and who has control over the waters. He's the king of the waters as well, just like Elohim we see here. So as we move on in verse 10, Vayikra Elohim, and I'll read it slowly, Vayikra Elohim layabasha eretz ulemikvei hamayim kara yamim vayar Elohim Kito. And so just reading it normally, Vayikra Elohim layabasha eretz ulemikvei hamayim kara yamim vayad Elohim kitov. And God called, literally, to the waters. Notice Vayikra is from the root kara, to call. It is a cow imperfect, third masculine singular. Again, that yod prefix indicating third masculine singular of the imperfect. So cow imperfect, third masculine singular from kara with a vav consecutive, that vav with the pathak again. So God called to the dry land. Notice the lamed here is the inseparable preposition, and underneath it you have a pathak, which is indicating the definite article. So God called to the dry land, Yabashah, and said, your name will be Eretz. Or like the king shouting out the commands. To the dry land, Eretz. That'll be your name. Ulemikvei hamayim karayamim. Notice U here is your conjunction and. Again, as we've said in some of the other verses, ve lemikvei changes to u. With the two shavas together here, we move from a vav with a shava to a short. So, and to the gathering of the waters. Here we have the preposition, the lamed, and we have two nouns in construct, mikvei hamayim. So it would be to the gathering of the waters, hamayim. Notice the mikveh again is the noun, meaning gathering, and hamayim again is the noun meaning waters with your article ha. Two nouns in construct. They stand back to back and you put of between them. To the gathering the waters, and you have to say to the gathering of the waters with these two nouns in construct. Kara yamim, he called seas. Notice kara, like bara in verse 1, is a lamed hey verb, a cow perfect, third masculine singular from kara. He called yamim seas. By the way, notice yamim, you have a dogish in the mem, which means that mem is doubled. So yamim, and it's plural, and that's the difference between yamim, the plural for days, where you don't have that doubling of the mem preceded by a short patha. So here the word yamm, if we were transliterating it, means seas. And so he called to the gathering of the waters, he called seas, Vayar Elohim Kitov. And God saw that it was good. Notice Vayar is your cow imperfect, third masculine singular from the lamed hey root ra'ah, where again the final hey has elided and dropped out, and that yod is putting it into a third person masculine singular. The vav is turning it over as a vav consecutive. So God saw, it's not futuristic, but put into the past because of the vav conversive. God saw ki tov, that good. And ki is just your conjunction, and tov is your adjective. You could read it that it was a good thing, and we must supply was here. So God saw that it was a good thing. So here we see the Lord causing the seas now, the waters, to be seas, the dry land to be earth. And so again, he's the creator of the seas, he's creator of earth, and he saw that it was good. This leads to verse 11. And I'll read it again slowly. Vayomer Elohim. And if you would repeat after me, that would be a good way of working on the pronunciation. Tadshe ha'aretz desha. And then Esev mazria zera, eitz peri, ose peri lemino, asher zarovo al haaretz, vayehi chen. So reading it in a normal read, Vayomer Elohim, Tadshe haaretz desha, Esev mazria zera, eitz peri, ose peri lemino, asher zarovo al haaretz, vayehi chen. Notice as we read this, we begin by Vayomer Elohim again, that pay aleph verb with your O class vowel because of a historical dissimilation at one point. And God said. Again, the Vav consecutive. And God said, Tadshe haaretz desha. Let the earth green with grass, or green or cause to green with grass. Notice dasha is the word to make green or to green. Notice you have a tab prefix showing you're looking at a third feminine singular prefix. And if you look at the thematic vowel patterns, you have an A vowel, a pathot, followed by an E vowel. And remember, in the rules of parsing, if you would like to look at my grammatical rules of parsing imperfects, there is also a YouTube video about that. But this is a hifil imperfect, third feminine singular from dasha. So God said, let the earth green itself. It's jussive or command in this imperfect. So let the earth green itself with desha, with green grass. Let it cause, I should say, green with green grass. Desha just means grass. And so notice, by the way, you have your same dalid, your sheen, and your aleph repeated. This is what is called a cognate accusative, because it's accusative and it basically has the very same consonants as in dasha. So it's called a cognate accusative. So let the earth put forth green grass, we could say. Let it put forth grass. Esev mazria. Notice Esev is the noun meaning herb, and mazria is from the root zara. And notice you have a mem prefix with an ai vowel pattern. You have a pathak under the mem. You have a hirik yod between the resh and the ayin. And this is indicative of a hifil stem. And you have that furtive pathak under the ayin. The Masoretes wanted to make sure that we pronounce the ayin and not eliminate mazriach, something like that. Not eliminate the ayin, and maybe it would sound like an aleph or something. At any rate, notice the mem indicates a participial form, and you have an ai vowel pattern, which is showing a hifil participle, masculine singular. Let me just say this, that if you look at that imperfect parsing, rule parsing chart, at the imperfect for a hifil, you have an ai vowel pattern. You have your prefix, say the yod or whatever prefix is there, and it will always have the ai vowel pattern for the hifil. Hifil, let's say, imperfect. But the participle has the mem as well. We see it, for example, in the PL, the puel, the hifil, the hofal, and the hitpael. So that's a hifil participle, masculine singular again. Mazria zera, here we have another cognate accusative in zera of the participial form. Zera means seed. So herb yielding or literally seeding seed. And then eitz peri, ose peri lemino. Eitz peri means tree of fruit. Here again, we have two nouns in construct, eitz, tree, peri, fruit. So we could say basically fruit tree, bearing fruit or making fruit. Notice oseh has an o vowel, a holum, followed by a segol from the root asa, to make, this lamed hey verb here. But the o tsere gives it away as a participle. So it's just your simple cow active participle. Tree of fruit, making pari, making fruit, lemino, to its kind. Notice the lamed here is the inseparable preposition. Min is kind, and o is your pronominal suffix, third masculine singular. So making fruit to its kind, asher zarovo, whose seed is in it. Notice zarovo is from zera, meaning seed. And this noun now, zera, is in construct with o, the holum vav. So we have a third masculine singular pronominal suffix, whose literally its seed is in it. And here we have another inseparable preposition in the bait, and the o, the holum vav. So it would literally be whose seed is in it, al ha'aretz, upon the earth. Al is your preposition upon, and ha'aretz is again the noun with the definite article, the earth. And notice then vayehi chen, and it was so. Again, vayehi from the root haya, a lamed hey verb where the hey has dropped out in this cow imperfect third masculine singular form with the vav, which is a vav conversive, and it was so. Chen is your adverb, and it goes with vayehi, it was so. So then what we see here is two types of seeds. The seed like grass, and then the seed like fruit that has its seed inside of it. So God is the creator of both types, can we say, of seed. The seed that spreads out like grass, the seed that is in a fruit, say like an apricot, seed inside of it. So he's the creator of all of that. Then it goes on in the next verse, verse 12. Vatotse ha'aretz desha. And I'm going to read it slowly again, and if you would follow me and pronounce it. Vatotse ha'aretz desha. Esev mazria zera. Leminehu. Va'etz oseh peri asher zarovo leminehu. Va'etz oseh peri asher zarovo leminehu. Vayar Elohim kitov. Let me just read the whole sentence here. Vatotzei ha'aretz desha, eseb mazria zera leminehu, va'etz oseh peri asher zarovo leminehu, vayar Elohim kitov. Now notice, vatotzei ha'aretz. Notice the verb totzei is from the root yatzah, to bring forth. Again, it's talking about the earth brought forth. And what is interesting here, the root is a pei yod root, which historically was a pei vav root. Historically, it was vatsa, to bring forth. And so when you look at historical Hebrew development, it would have had something like a pathak under the tav, tau say, and that AW, if I could put it that way, the pathak and the vav became a long holim vav, a long O. So tautse became totse. Historically, it was an A-E pattern, which is the pattern for the hifil stem. And so this is a hifil imperfect third feminine singular from yatsa, going with ha'aretz, which is feminine. And then we have the vav consecutive. So the earth really was caused to bring forth. And I might just say this, in your pei-yod verbs, you had two types of pei-yod verbs. You had those that were constant pei-yod verbs, like yinach, that never changes in the imperfect. Then you have pei-yod verbs that were pei-vav verbs historically. And in the dictionary, they appear as pei-yod. But what happens there is there's a difference in the way when you go to the imperfect that you'll find it. So like that's what we're finding here. In other words, it would have been vatsa instead of yatsa. And so when we bring this together with a historic A, pathak under the tav, followed by the holim, we end up with tautse, sort of a interesting form. So the earth brought forth grass. Notice desha again is your accusative cognate, singular. Aseb mazria, seed yielding, or herb yielding seed. Aseb means herb. It's a noun, singular. And mazria, notice, is from zara. And again, we have a participial form, a participle, a hifil participle, masculine singular with the AI vowel pattern. So we would say grass, and then herb after desha, herb yielding seed. Again, another cognate accusative from mazria. So herb yielding seed, leminehu, to its kind. Notice the lamed is your inseparable preposition, followed by min, which is kind, and then we have who. And I take the cetera here to be like a hinge to get us to the who. And so to the kind of it, min, the noun kind, and who is your pronoun, your pronominal suffix ending or pronoun, and it means to its kind. So seed, yielding seed to its kind, and the eitz oseh peri, and tree yielding fruit. Notice eitz is the noun meaning tree, and oseh is the cow participle, masculine singular. Notice the holim and the tseri gives it away as a cow active participle. So tree yielding fruit, here we have the noun fruit again. Asher zarovo, whose its seed. Notice asher is the relative pronoun whose, and zaro again is the noun in construct with o, the pronominal suffix third masculine singular from zera. So zera becomes zaro, and then vo is your preposition with o, your pronominal suffix, third masculine singular. So whose its seed was understood in it to its kind again, leminehu. And notice the lamed here means to, the inseparable preposition. Min, or min, is the noun kind. And again, we have ehu, that seri, which I take as a helping vowel to take us to the final consonant vowel, who. And who is your pronominal suffix, another way of writing your pronominal suffix, third masculine singular. We have o and we have who. Here we have who. And so to its kind, vayar Elohim kito, and God saw that it was good. Notice vayar is from the root ra'ah again, a final lamed hay or a final hay form. a cow imperfect, third masculine singular from Ra'ah. And so God saw, Elohim is the subject of this phrase. God saw Kito, that is the conjunction we supply that it was, and then Tov, an adjective that it was a good thing. So God creates the seed that is like in grass, and then seed within the fruit. And what is beautiful here, God is the source of fertility. He's the source of life. And we conclude then by saying, Vayehi Erev, Vayehi Boker Yom Shelishi. And there was evening, and there was morning, day 3. Notice Vayehi, again, is from the root Haya, a cow imperfect, third masculine singular from Haya, the Lamed Hey verb, where the Hey has dropped out. And that Vav is a Vav conversive or a Vav consecutive again. And there was evening, Erev, the noun evening, and we've seen that in day 2, and now in day 3, we saw it in day 1. And Vayehi Boker, the same form, cow imperfect, third masculine singular from the final Lamed Hey root, Haya, where the Hey has elided. And it was Boker, morning, day 3, Yom Shelishi. Yom, the noun for day, Shelishi means 3. So it was, or excuse me, the third day. So now we have the third day, or day 3. One of the beautiful things about looking at this text through not only the meaning of the text here, but through New Testament lenses, is that we see that God is the source of life. He is the source of making it fertile. And I think I've thought a lot about the New Testament in John 1, where Jesus is the source of life. In him was life, and the life was the light of humankind. And so all the way through here, Jesus would say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so I believe the New Testament clearly works out of Genesis 1, especially in the Gospel of John, showing that Jesus is life, who can give life for anyone who puts their faith in him as Lord and Savior, because he is the resurrection and life.